Have you ever walked into your kids' rooms and found their socks in the corner looking like this, standing up like they were molded in place? And you had that uh-oh feeling, sort of like Eeyore, or maybe that feeling of Oscar the Grouch, that ooh. Well, we're going to be talking about those stinky feet. Any of you who have had an 8-year-old would know what it's like to walk into a room or have your kids take their shoes off and smell that stench. And the problem is that this isn't limited to just our children. This is adults also, where people are absolutely afraid to take their shoes off in public because they've got stinky feet. Now, guys, don't think that you're out there alone. We are all in this together because it's not just males, but it's females also. And we recognize the fact that this can afflict absolutely anybody at any age. And yet, if we know simple truths, if we know these simple little tricks, we're capable of not only eliminating stinky feet, but never having to experience that again. Now, I love the fact that we have the opportunity of demonstrating tonight. In fact, you know what? Listen, the very first thing that you need is a container. And the big thing is well, it doesn't matter what container it is. It could be an oil basin. It could be just a pan. It could be a kitty litter pan. It doesn't matter as long as your feet fit inside of them. So I've already prepared this one, and we've got a little bit of warm water in here. It's just enough to cover my feet all the way up to my above my ankles. And here's the thing. You know what? You only need a few things at home in order to actually help yourself. Now, I hear from people all the time, oh my goodness, that sounds too difficult. It's too hard. It's too complicated. That's not tonight. Nobody's going to use this excuse. In fact, I don't care whether you're reading a book, doing your devotionals, watching TV. You could be watching the Wheel of Fortune. Guess what? You can do this. All you need is to make sure that your feet stay in this bucket for about 15 to 20 minutes. Now, I'll tell you, 20 minutes is really that timeline that provides that most amount of bang for your buck. Now, I like starting with some nice warm water, because one of the reasons for that is because we want to go ahead and we want to start to dissolve some Epsom salts. Now, everybody always says, hey, listen, how much? Well, let me think. It's about a cup or so of Epsom salt. And let me think, if that doesn't look like a cup or so, well, then guess what? We're just going to add a little bit more in. Okay, and we're going to let that dissolve. We can move our feet around a little bit, and it's going to start to dissolve. I could feel it dissolving right underneath my feet. Now, here's the wonderful thing. Too much, not a problem. Guess what? Everything is absolutely natural. You are not going to have to worry about toxic side effects. In fact, that's one of the reasons why we recommend this type of treatment, is because we're not dealing with harmful chemicals. Your skin, that largest organ of your body, 70% of what you put onto it gets absorbed into it. And therefore, we want to be conscious. Even when we start talking about these type of treatments, we want to be mindful. Because yes, the skin on the bottom of the feet, very sensitive. You know that if you spend any time at the beach and you've walked on some really, really hot sand, it's going to burn your feet, okay? Many of us don't like that whole fire walking thing, all right? So we want to make sure that we're watching over this. In fact, I know that there's research out there. They talk about zinc, and they talk about zinc-coated socks. They have ointments with zinc in it that you're able to utilize in order to help diminish stinky feet also. It is found, and it is noted that, yes, oftentimes people with stinky feet, if in fact they actually take zinc as a supplement, that you're also capable of diminishing stinky feet from within. Now, here's the difference. Taking the zinc supplement works from the inside out. Multiple layers of skin. In fact, it has to get all the way to the dead skin in order to make a difference, and we're going to describe that in just a second. But When we work from the outside, we get to attack directly some of the root causes of why we have that stinky feet. Now, hey, listen, it's almost all dissolved. I can feel very little of that underneath my feet now. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to be using apple cider vinegar. Now, apple cider vinegar, Bragg's, is what I recommend. Listen, it's very clean. You know what? You can ingest it. There's a ton of different reasons to be able to use this. And you want to do about a cup, and sort of feel like Julia Childs right now. What's a cup? Well, let me think. It looks to be about that much. Okay? So this is not an exact science. We're going to go ahead and pour it in there. Yes, it's going to turn the water a little bit brown. That's okay. Now, we're going to be sitting here for about 15 to 20 minutes like this, letting the sodium, letting that vinegar compound soften that superficial layer. Now, we're going to get back to the skin and all those layers, because this is really where some of that stinky feet comes from. See, the problem is that as those skin cells, they start to die off, one of the things that happens, because a lot of times there's moisture that gets put into those socks, there's moisture that stays too close to the feet, those cells, they absorb that moisture, but they constantly, as they get dried out, they absorb, they dehydrate. Now, unfortunately, as we add heat into those cells, once again, we reheat them, we actually add a little bit more moisture. What happens is, well, all that bad stuff, that's fermenting. And if in fact you've ever smelled anything that's fermented, there's an odor that comes off of it. That's exactly what's happening to your feet. So what we're going to do is, after allowing this to work its way through and allow it to soften the skin and actually loosen it up, we're going to recommend you get one of these magic eggs. Now listen, I don't sell these. I don't care whether you get it for CVS, Rite Aid, Eckerd's, the local grocery store. These things are fantastic, okay? But let's remember, too much at one time is not a good thing. If you've never experienced one of these magic eggs, okay, inside this magic egg happens to be an exfoliator. It's got little metal, it's got a little metal device that allows for you to shave off that loose, dead skin. Now, what's going to happen is it's all going to accumulate inside here. In fact, one of the things kids always love to see is when you open this sucker up, you get to see all of that dead stuff inside of here. So it's all really nice. You just throw it in the toilet or you put it into down your sink. But regardless, it's kept all in one place instead of ending up on the floor like all the kids' rest of the stuff. Now, you also have this nice little pumice on the bottom here to smooth out your skin also. Note to self, don't do it too hard. The idea is to just simply take a little bit off at a time. And in fact, if you do this consistently, maybe every other day, maybe every third day, over about a 2 to 3 week period of time, you've really exfoliated a lot of that really dead, bad skin, which means that stuff that was producing the stinky feet is no longer there. Yeah, you don't have to look like Eeyore walking into the room like, oh my goodness, I'm girding my loins, or feeling like Oscar the Grouch, knowing that, hey, listen, there's something not so great on the other side of that door. I want you to make sure that your kids are taken care of, your spouse is taken care of, you're taken care of. Because nobody likes stinky feet. Nobody likes to have to be embarrassed by stinky feet. And yet there's so many people out there that they don't know what you know. I'm going to encourage you, share this information. Make sure that somebody else in your life who maybe has stinky feet, or maybe has children who might have stinky feet, know what you know. I'm Dr. Joseph Baker from the Limerick Chiropractic Center.